Hey guys, welcome to Dev with Aditya. In this video, I'll be sharing my development setup that I use to develop web applications and websites so that you can replicate the same setup into your system and can follow along with any of the tutorials or projects that I'll be doing on this channel. So without any delay, let's get started. The first software that we would need is a decent web browser. Now, when it comes to web browser, I always prefer Chrome, and I will insist you guys to use Chrome, but you can use any of the modern web browser like Firefox or Safari if you want, but I highly recommend to go with Chrome. The reason being is, if you'll be using Chrome, we can use the same set of extensions and developer tools that Chrome has to offer. So the download link for Chrome and all the softwares that I'll be mentioning in this video will be in the description section. So just go on to the description, click on the link, whatever software you want to download, and just download into your system and install it. Installation for all these softwares is pretty easy. You just have to download the setup into your system and you have to run that setup. After running it, you have to click on next a couple of times and that's it. You have the software installed. So I won't be showing you the installation because that will be a lot of spoon feeding and you can surely do that on your own. So we are done with our first software, that is web browser. Now let's talk about the second software. For the second software, we will be talking about a code editor. Now, there will be times where your code will be very lengthy, maybe 1000 line of code or 500 line of code. At that point, you surely don't want to write that code in Notepad++, and that's where a proper code editor or IDE comes into picture. And if you'll ask me about code editor or IDE, I will always go with Visual Studio Code. So let me show you the website, and here it is. Visual Studio Code is offered by Microsoft and it is available for Windows, Linux and Macintosh. So go ahead, according to your platform, download the setup and install it. Again, the installation is pretty easy. Further, in this video, I'll be also sharing my Visual Studio Code setup with you guys, including all the extensions and settings.json. So hang around till the end of the video. Okay, so now we are done with our second software. Let's talk about the third one. For the third, I'll be introducing to you guys with Git. I know Git is a version control system, but with Git comes a beautiful thing, that is Git Bash. Now I always use Git Bash in any of my projects. So whenever I have to use some command line utilities, I prefer Git Bash over my command line prompt, over my CMD or my PowerShell, because Git Bash gives me a feel of using Linux, and that is where I always work with Git Bash. So again, the installation is pretty simple. Maybe the installation of Git can overwhelm you, but that's completely fine. Just download the Windows setup or whatever setup that is suitable for your system, download it, install it. It will ask you a bunch of things like configurations and all. Don't change any of the configuration, just just install Git with all the default configurations. That would be good for you. Okay, so now we are done with our third software. Let's talk about the fourth one. So for the fourth one, we need Node.js. Now all the tutorials or all the projects that I'll be doing on this channel will revolve around JavaScript. And if we are talking about JavaScript in 2021, we surely need Node.js installed in our system. So go on to the Node.js website and download the LTS version. So they say over here recommended for most users. So go ahead, download LTS version. Again, installation is pretty simple. You can do that on your own. Okay. So we are done with our fourth software, that is Node.js. Now let's talk some database. So primarily I use two types of database in my project. First is MongoDB, that is a NoSQL database, and second is MySQL, that is an SQL database. Sorry for the disturbance, I'll silence my phone. Just give me a second. Okay, that is done. Okay, so moving forward on to the database, first we need MongoDB. MongoDB is a NoSQL database, as I told you guys. Again, the links will be in the description section. Go on to this website, select a version, go with this current version, select your platform and download it. The installation is simple and you can do that on your own. But if you are stuck in any kind of installation issues or you are facing some problems, you can always reach me out on Instagram. My Instagram handle is aditya.developer. I will give the link in the description, so go on and follow me on Instagram. Always you can ask problems and confusions or queries in the DM. I try to reply each and every one of you. Okay, so once we have MongoDB into our system, the next thing is, yeah, you guessed it right, a GUI interface for our MongoDB database, and for that I use RoboMongo 3T. And when you will be going on to this link, there will be two options, Studio 3T and Robo 3T. Honestly, we don't need Studio 3T. It's for the actual production thing and all, so actually we don't need that, and I guess that is a paid one, but just go with Mongo 3T and that would be enough for you guys. Okay, so we are done with our GUI interface for MongoDB as well. The next database that we are talking about is MySQL, and honestly installing MySQL separately is kind of a headache. So what you guys have to do is you have to install XAMPP. Now XAMPP is not just MySQL. XAMPP is a package of Apache, MariaDB, PHP and Perl. Honestly, we are not going to use PHP and Perl. We are only concerned about MySQL, and installing MySQL, as I told you guys, is a bit of headache, and no one wants to do that unless it is absolutely necessary. So go on to this link. Again, the link will be in the description section, and download download XAMPP and install. XAMPP installation is pretty simple. You can do that on your own. Okay guys, we are done with all our databases, all our softwares. The last software, that is our API client. What is API client, you might ask? Let me tell you what is API client. So when you will be working on the backend, creating REST APIs, you need some kind of API client to test your APIs, like to test the functionality and to test the security and all for your REST APIs. And for that, you need a REST API client or API client. The most famous one is Postman. So go on to the link. Again, as I told many times, that links will be in the description section. Go on to this page and download Postman. And that is it. These are the softwares that I personally use to develop web applications and websites. Okay. So as I told you guys in the beginning of this video that I'll be showing you my extensions and my settings for Visual Studio Code, let's get that started. So I'll minimize my web browser and let's see my VS Code. Okay, let me go to extensions, and here are all the extensions that I use. First is Angular language service. If you work with Angular, you can install this. Again, next is Angular snippets. Again, if you are working with Angular, go ahead and install that. After that, we have Atom 1 Dark theme, favorite theme, and I use that quite often. After that, we have auto rename tag. This comes handy when you are working with HTML, JSX or XML. So go ahead, install this one. After that, we have better comments. So just to decorate all my comments, I use this plugin. I'll minimize this. After that, we have bracket pair colorizer. Honestly, I cannot imagine my development without this plugin, because this plugin gives colors for every pair of brackets, and that is literally amazing. After that, I have another theme, very famous one in the development industry. If you want, you can install this as well, but I rarely use this. I don't use this theme as much. After that, I have .env. .env makes the .env file look beautiful, so I have this plugin. After that, I have Dracula theme. That is the theme I am currently using. After that, I have my React plugin, and it also has Redux, GraphQL and all. So if you are working with React and React ecosystem, this plugin is must. After that, I have ESLint for JavaScript. Then I have import cost, just a side plugin. I don't really use this much. After that, I have TypeScript plugin because I work with Angular and TypeScript. I have this plugin. After that, we have live Sass compiler. I always work with Sass. I don't write CSS much, and that is why I have this Sass compiler. After that, we have live server. Live server is when I am working with core HTML and Sass or CSS. At that point of time, I use live server to host a server in my local system. After that, I have material icon theme. I just love the way this icon looks, and that is the reason I have that. After that, I have path intelligence, just to give me better path or better path intelligence. That is the reason I have that. After that, I have prettier, which formats my code pretty straightforward. Then I have project manager because I work with a lot of projects. I have this. After that, I have Sass, and that is I told you before that I work with Sass. And at last, I have this SVG previewer. This is kind of optional. If you want, you can install it, and if you don't want, it's fine. It's completely fine. Alright, so these are the extensions that I use on a daily basis. Now let me show you my settings.json file. Okay, so not like that. There we go. So I have this integrated font size for my terminal, that is 22. Font size for my editor 22. Word wrap is on. This is true. I am not sure what this does, but anyways, if you want, you can add this. Then I have line height of 38. As you can see, my line height is pretty big, which makes the code look separate and which helps in development. Then we have this prettier thing going on. We have default formatter and bunch of stuff that is going on. And we have this mouse wheel zoom. This is pretty important. Like, you can zoom in and out with your mouse scroll, so that is important. Auto save is off. Sometime I make it on as well. Then this is, I guess, for the emit, for the JSX and for TypeScript. Then I have this color theme of Dracula. This is my PHP path. And okay, so this is interesting. This is my live Sass setting. So whenever I use this live Sass compiler, my folder structure looks like this: build/CSS. So that is the thing I have over here. Okay, then this is some file exclusions and all. This is cursor blink. So as you can see, my cursor is blinking. You can do that with this line. And I have the default integrated terminal as git bash, and this is line height for my terminal. That's it. Okay, if you guys want, I can give this settings.json file in my GitHub. So actually I'll do that. Actually, I'll host this file on my GitHub, and I will give you the link in the description, so you can just copy paste in your settings.json. Okay, so that is it for my development setup. I know I have a lot of things going on, but actually I don't use everything. I use them quite occasionally, but yeah, that is what I have in my system. Go ahead, replicate the same environment into your system as well, so you don't face any kind of issues in my future tutorials or projects that I'll be doing on this channel. So I guess that's it for this video. I hope you really enjoyed it, and if you did, you know what to do, right? You have to subscribe this channel, you have to like this video, and don't forget to share this video. I'll see you guys in the next one, and until that, keep coding, be safe, goodbye.